What is up, Tampa Bay? Welcome to the Thunder. I am Shooty Shoots, also known as Shooter. I have with me the Stash and Thomas Schooley, who's going to bring us to class.
Yes, what's up, everybody?
A 3-2 Lightning win. Hey, boys, we're back on top of the series. What do you say? What do you say?
Well, everybody cancel the missing persons report. Vasilevsky, Hedman, Pointer, Kucherov, they've all been found in Toronto and by some guy named Carter Verhaeghe.
That's the guy. So, yeah, right away, that's what we found out today going into the game. There was a little bit of a shuffle where you had Verhaeghe coming in for Stevens. We don't know why. I know Stevens kind of got banged up the last game, but they didn't really say anything, and they never will say anything about that. But I liked it. He gave the team kind of a little spark. He had some speed. He was ready to play. What did you guys think of the addition?
He looked good on that line. I thought it was a good role for him to come in too, because both those guys, like Coleman and Maroon, have been activating physically, but I think they're still kind of fighting. They've been fighting with the puck a little bit, I think. And Verhaeghe was able to get in there and kind of calm that down, it looked like. And they gelled a lot more to me, what I saw out of them tonight. So definitely. And then obviously finding that assist, that was a great play, the way they were coming down the ice and finding Hedman trailing at the end. Getting a little bit ahead of ourselves in the game. But just overall, I thought he definitely clearly had a great impact. And Cooch was, for whatever the reason, injury or not, Coop made the adjustment by changing up the roster there, and clearly it paid off.
But then it went back to the old lines, and that's when Cooch scored. So
yeah, well, and that's the other thing. That was about halfway through the second period. You saw a period there where he intentionally switched up those two top lines a little bit on a couple of shifts, and I think it made the Blues kind of be like, whoa, what's going on? And then he went right back to them, and yeah, they scored. And I thought it was pretty crafty by Coop there. Right when there were some people on the old social media trying to talk crap about him not making adjustments, there he was right in the middle of the game when it mattered most, making big adjustments that paid off.
Now, it's something we talked about the last one, because now we are going to be chasing Tortorella's game. So it would be, how would Coop adjust to that? And I think he handled it pretty good.
Yeah, I think he outcoached him again.
Yep.
So you made some good points there. I was definitely one that was complaining about the lack of adjustments after the first period. Because if you remember correctly, after that first period was not pretty. It was not fun. Somehow, we scored the first goal, but they really won that first period. I think we ended like 10-8 in shots, but for a long time, we had like 2 hung up on that shot board. But
they got the benefit of some calls there. I'm not going to say that those weren't penalties, all right? But the Maroon thing, first of all, that's garbage. That he's coming in playing hard. And to only send him off there in that scrum, I thought that was pretty chicken shit by the referees personally. Either you don't send anybody off there or you send both guys off to send a message to both teams early on. I think it's crap to give another team an advantage that early in the game just from a little bit of physical play in front of the net. But they had those power play opportunities early on, and I think that helped them out. Halfway through the first, though, I looked, the Lightning settled down, and yeah, you were right. It was 10-2 for a while in the shots, and then it ended up being 10-8. So they took over the second half of that first period. But you're right. Once you made some adjustments, I think the team overall made some adjustments, and then Coop made some more adjustments. And I think that was the name of that's the key word, I guess, of the game today for Lightning would be adjustments.
Yeah, I remember the first period really not liking their game, especially at the beginning, because they were missing so many shots, just not even hitting the net. I'm like, come on, guys. But they definitely even started hitting the net more as they went throughout that game. And I think they got a boost. They kind of flipped the script towards the end of that period, and definitely in the second period. But after going shorthanded and the 5-on-3, those always kind of cause those nice little momentum swings when you can kind of overcome a 5-on-3 power play. But yeah, I did not like that call right away against Maroon, because you saw it later in the game. Like, there was 2 consecutive plays where I think it was like Gord and Sergachev got their helmet ripped off.
Yeah.
No calls there.
Right. Which to me shouldn't have been. There shouldn't have been. But then there shouldn't have been in the first place either.
I know, but don't call the first one. Don't call the first one.
Exactly.
My thing is since that last game, Maroon and Coleman have been very vocal about needing to up their play and in front of the net. And then I have been very vocal of not being a Maroon fan. Yeah. And he stepped up. He talked the talk tonight and walked the walk. So he did. And so did Coleman. Coleman said that they needed to do more in front presence, and they did.
Yeah. Well, and let's not gloss over the fact that we've been talking about Killer, Johnson, and Sorelli, and they came out playing really, really well early on. The rest of the team wasn't playing great, but that line was played great the entire game as far as I saw it was concerned.
This was lightning hockey.
Yeah, and that goal, and that's one of the main things I want to really point out here, and I think it's going to help these guys, is while they did win that game, game 1, those goals were still those really, really hardcore dribble in, not typical Lightning goals like we talked about. Tonight, they were scoring Lightning goals. They were playing Lightning hockey, and that's the kind of confidence that they need, not just from winning a game, but how they're scoring their goals. So that goal from Killer, which I believe was completely intentional, to fake the pass and then kind of slide it 5-hole, that's the Killer kind of goal, if you ask me. We've seen him have that kind of hand-eye coordination in the past. That probably picking up a little bit of Kucherov there,
I'd like to hear the play-by-play in his words on that.
Right,
goal.
right.
It sure looked like he was trying to pass that over, but it did go like right towards the goalie.
Yeah.
And it threw off the goalie because the goalie was expecting it obviously to go over, and that's why it went in. So.
Well, and then he got handcuffed on that later on too, on that Hedman goal that totally handcuffed him. So he definitely looked like a regular old goalie tonight. I think that we scored the goals that we like to score and played the hockey we like to play after that initial rush of early on penalties. So
we've said that at every show that the goals could be there. That net has been open so many times. If they could just get it, if they connect it, stop with the wide left and the wide rights. And apparently they were listening to last week's show or the other night's show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They do listen. They do listen. At least they know the option to listen, because Killer does follow old Shooty, and I see he looks at my stories. So I secretly message him. Yeah, that's why you see the stash on. Not at all, by the way.
I need to start remembering to get mine. I got to remember to start styling mine up for the post games too, since we started doing the videos, man.
Get the program.
And get my
Killer
stash
can
game
do it
back
for post game shows, and you can't do it for post game shows.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, we saw one of our posts from one of our watchers. Scott was talking about Killer was playing hard. Not only was that goal a good Killer goal for that line, he was out there playing super physical again, but a little bit more the right way, not the frustrated way that I think we saw the first couple games. He was just playing more his game. That goal helped him out, and that whole line again, they just played great. Johnny undressing that guy down in the corner later on in the game.
That guy, Seth Jones, is that guy.
Oh, right, Seth Jones. You're right. It was Seth Jones. Oh my goodness! Like, and that's why I kept thinking I couldn't be anybody, but it was Seth Jones. Oh, that was
my
great.
only problem was he made that beautiful move, and then he tries to throw it to like Coleman or someone in front
instead of skating through the net. Yeah. He
and he had two guys on him, and I was just like, just try to sneak that in somehow, or at least have them try to get the rebound instead of giving it away. But still, that move was sick. That little kind of like stutter. Can you do a stutter step on skates?
Nice. Right, like I don't know. That looked like a straight on running back, right in open field. It was a little juke right there. It was real nice.
It's nice once again to see kind of those guys, Killer and Johnny, show up in the playoffs when we need them, and we need those guys to show up. And the other guy is Hedman too. And before I forget, while we're talking about Tampa Bay's greatest influencer and his goal tonight, I've got some extra Doc Talk gear. So anyone that calls in, I've already been taking names of the people that have called in past shows. Anyone that calls in is going to be eligible for a little drawing we're going to do, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat here. So if anyone wants to call in and just give their take, ask a question, come on in and join us. It's Saturday night in Tampa, and the Bolts lead the series 2-1. So it's a good day.
Yes,
so join us.
Finally.
But yeah, I thought I loved seeing that Hedman goal. Just him kind of sneak one in. And first of all, it wasn't even like that great of a shot. He just kind of snuck it right under kind of the wing there.
Right under the wing. And like I said, it really handcuffed him. The way it was kind of a rising shot. And yeah, you're right. It was kind of like it caught him right in between. He didn't really know what you could see in slow motion. He didn't know what to do with his arm there on the blocker side. And he got it right underneath that armpit area. So, but even that was some open ice room that you didn't really see the first two games. The Lightning created by playing their kind of hockey with the rush, dropping it back down to the guy activating from the blue line. So, multiple opportunities tonight that looked like we said earlier, Lightning hockey, creating plays, creating space. There's a lot more space out there. No space in games 1 and 2, really. It was a lot of grinding, physical, hard hockey. This was much more the kind of hockey Lightning are comfortable playing. You could tell.
Yeah.
You could tell. They're out there having fun. We talked about it too. It looked like they were at least enjoying it. Maybe not having fun. They were still a day at the office, but I think they were definitely enjoying themselves a little bit more than they were in the first two games, for sure.
Well, the first one, you couldn't enjoy anything after 7 hours of hockey.
Yeah, right. At a certain point, yeah.
They just wanted.
Well, what I liked about it was it made Korpisalo look human tonight, and they said that plenty of times on the Lightning broadcast, which I've been watching the NBC broadcast, and thank God I went back to
tonight. We made a conscious decision here in the Stash household to do the same. I normally like to watch the NBC because personally I like to get the perspective of the national guys, and they talk about both teams a little bit more. So I personally like that. But yeah, no, we got to do the Fox. Well, and also the race that was on NBC Sports ran long, so they didn't get their pregame and so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to Sun, and I'm glad I went because it was a much better broadcast.
Call it Sun Sports too. Well, can we bring that back?
It's the sunshine's sake. Come on.
Fox would never have it.
Right?
Engblom is spot on though. He's been a national commentator. I'm thinking things in my head, and then he's saying them 2 minutes later, which that's always a good commentator when that happens.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I couldn't stand him. I miss Dinger, but he's really.
Oh, of course, we all miss Dinger. But he was saying the same things that I was preaching on the last post game shows about, like, hey, where's the man in front? And we definitely, I was seeing the same things in the first period, and you're right, they did make some adjustments as we went throughout the game. So I was happy to see some changes, and I was happy to see him agreeing with me instead of NBC sports commentators saying how Tampa is just garbage without Hedman
or whoever. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because it was funny because I know we were going back and forth where I was saying things in my head or to the wife, and then they were echoing them, and then you and I were tweeting a little bit. I was a little bit too intensely watching the game, but some of the stuff you were saying was like, oh, come on, she was just being salty, and then they would bring it up. I'm like, all right, maybe I'm, that's why
Yeah,
we work, because
that's
I'm
what
a
I'm
little
talking
too much of
about.
a homer and you're a little bit too salty sometimes. So we bounce each other out a little bit. But yeah, it's good to watch that broadcast and be able to see it from our perspective a little bit, especially on such a game that I was all nerves. I mean, Shooter, I texted you right at game time. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. There was like half an hour. I was like, I'm so nervous, just anxiety before the game. So
thought we were gonna have to send you a Xanax or something.
it was close, man.
I don't know how
I couldn't
I'm
even
gonna
drink
make
a beer or anything. Yeah, I couldn't even drink a beer or anything. It was crazy.
I was feeling confident. I thought we were gonna get the win. I was hoping for that like blowout, like we finally break the Watergates open game, which we've done in the past in the playoffs. It hasn't happened yet, but
I think it's still coming.
Out.
Yeah, I still think that. Yeah, because there was definitely some moments I saw tonight where they're still kind of, I think, pushing a little too hard. They're still clutching a little bit, and the more they relax and the more they trust their game, and like. So they talked about it again. We were talking about the Fox broadcast, the local broadcast, and they were talking about in the pregame. I believe it was Chief. He was talking about you in the regular season you play your own game, and in the playoffs you kind of have to adjust because it's a series to that team. And I agree to a point, but at the same time, if you adjust too much to that team specifically, it gets in your head a little bit. So then you're not necessarily out there playing your game as much, or more worried about what they're doing and reacting to what they do. So to see them kind of go back to their game, but still out physical. I mean, if you look at here, 35 hits to 19, they're still blocking way too many shots as far as I'm concerned. They had 24 block shots tonight, but we're still out hitting them, and it's in the physical moments that matter. Palat, he had a couple of big hits. We talked about already. Killer was out there still playing physical. Maru and Coleman have been, but a little bit more impactful in the way they're being physical. So Gord. And Gord as well, yeah. And you see Mary Bryant right here watching along. She made the comment that Hetty played the best game tonight since being hurt, and I think I agree with that as well. He looked full on 100% Hetty out there, mentally and physically. So that's a really good sign.
Yeah, but I want to see him get back on that power play. Please. Please. I mean, we only got one chance.
Well, we
only got one chance.
Don't get me started.
We still could. I mean, we got 2 shots, I believe, on it. But I still, we need him back on that point. It would help to have Stamkos back as well. But that's that kind of spot that's missing. But you saw them again kind of adjust on that power play, kind of how they played it. They did have 2 guys in front of the net, and they were kind of shooting it from that point a little bit more instead of kind of trying to wing it over to who is it? Cooch is on one side, and they've been playing Tyler Johnson on the other side.
Yeah,
he just can't fill that Stamkos role. He doesn't have the shot, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I think this was a must win really for their psyche.
I agree. That's why I was so nervous. Because I know it's a 7-game series, and even Mrs. Stash wanted to be reminded of the confidence that it was a 7-game series, but still, to me, it didn't feel that way after last game. It just seemed to me that they needed to come out, play their game, and win with their brand of hockey. We talked about it after the last show that this was the kind of win that they needed, the kind of game they needed. So that makes me feel a lot better going into Game 4.
Yeah, some good points here by everyone in the chat, and Richard here. Careless penalties early on. I agree. Like you got to call those 2 penalties. I think Killer had one. I forget what the other one was, but I think it was Bogo with the
hook.
Trip.
Yeah, Bogo with the trip and the hook. Yeah.
And then I like the last comment. Last 10 minutes. Like that's when usually you kind of get scared. You're on your heels. And that wasn't the case tonight. You kind of felt like the Lightning said, like, "Hey, there's no way we're letting this go to overtime."
It was full shutdown. Yeah, it was full shutdown. Even when they pulled the goalie, it didn't seem like they threatened. Like I was, we've seen in other games in this playoffs already where pulling the goalie gets the late goal. So, but it didn't seem like they had that momentum even when they did that. So the
empty net is still the best goalie against us. Always,
right? 2 posts, 2 posts.
Always has been.
We can make an empty net look like a Vezina candidate.
Yeah, Vezina candidate. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But what about Vassy? Right. we've been harping on those crappy goals Vazzy's been given all series.
Well, he did. He did give one up there.
Yeah, but that 5-on-3 though, he stood on his head.
Yes,
he did.
The whole team. I think that PK in general. Yeah, they all.
That set the momentum. Really.
Yep.
Really did.
Set the tone. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. That 5-3 killing that, and then the penalty kill for Tampa, cleared house today. They were 0 for 4.
Yeah.
On the PK. So I just still don't understand though why we can't get power plays. I watch almost all the other games. I love hockey, right?
Yeah.
And I see teams like the Washington Capitals get like 10 power plays a game, and I'm like, what are Lightning doing wrong?
Like
we get one a game. It seems like.
And my thing is, I wouldn't be crying for power plays if other teams weren't getting them, like you say. If they would call it like they normally do, which is hardly any penalties in the playoffs, I'd be okay with it. But I guess they just don't do it like that anymore. A lot of us old school guys still talk about, power plays don't matter that much in the postseason. And we're seeing more and more that they are calling anytime you get the stick up there around the hands and, the slashes, the hooks, they're calling those all the time now, even in the playoffs. And so,
it's inconsistent in the playoffs.
It's so inconsistent for us, for sure.
Season.
Yeah.
And then in the playoffs, it's like, I guess it depends what ref you get.
Well, and they were talking about how, we were fifth most for power play opportunities in the regular season. We've had 11 so far. So that's definitely a huge disparagement between those two. So,
well, I think they said the average on all the other games is 8 a game, and then the average for a Tampa Bay Lightning game is like 3 or 4.
Yeah, so we get one.
Right. Yeah, and one of them's only ours. Yeah.
Yep.
You guys might have already looked at this, but who do you think led the Lightning on time on ice?
I mean, I always think it's Hedman almost every game, but
McDonough.
It might have been McDonough tonight because he was looking really good. Yeah, he was looking. He played a really good game tonight.
Hedman was not far behind. About a minute and a half behind McDonough. But yeah, I was surprised Hedman's still not up there. He must be kind of.
Yeah, I should have.
It must be kind of a nagging thing with whatever's going on with him, or else you would imagine he's out there for those one power plays a game and a couple more minutes per game. But they seem to be doing fine with him, and they're really spreading it out. Cernak had a lot of ice time tonight, and he played well.
Yeah.
And another thing that Team Tampa Bay commentators were mentioning was how well he kind of gets that puck through when he's taking those shots from the point. So I like that, and I wonder if that's why he's getting more time. That and probably kind of the physical aspect that he brings. Oh, we got Stas Jr.'s bedtime. Hey, little man, see ya. He's ready for the camera. So, hey, we got a caller. Let's bring on our guy. It's not a first time caller. We got Connor. Connor, what's going on, my man?
Oh, it was good. What's up, guys? It was a great game. First period, I was kind of like oh my god, nervous. But once Killer got that goal, it was great. I was kind of going back and forth between Lightning vision and kind of keeping up with that and everything. And but I think they came alive, the Lightning, a lot better in the second period for sure. So.
Totally. Say, how is that Lightning vision? So that's the thing that Greg's doing on the app, right? So what exactly is it? Can you explain that for us?
Yeah. So basically, you kind of go and log in, and they give you like a random ID and everything, and you can kind of change it. So they have like different, quizzes and polls and things you can do, and you can have they do like videos of people. I think you get to send in and stuff like cheering and stuff. Also, they had like different sound effects and stuff, so you could push it and get points and stuff to it. I don't know what the points were for or anything, using them or anything like that. I know they had the Whistler on there. They had, the goal bolts chance. So when they scored a goal, it kind of went off. So you had the goal horn going off and the goal horn song. So it was really good, So they did.
Cool.
really well on it.
I like what they're trying to do there. I need to download the I have the app. I need to just go turn it on.
Yeah, you can go on the Lightning app or on the .com and just kind of create. They said anybody can do it, any like worldwide. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, even for like people, distant thunder and everything like that. So
we're all distant thunder right now.
We're all distant thunder now. So,
yeah,
2,000 miles away from where they're playing. So yeah, I mean, I felt the same way as you. I did not like the first period, but they seemed to kind of straighten the ship. And we'll see. It's always good to be leading the series 2-1 instead of trailing the series 2-1.
Yeah. Pivotal game 3.
Yeah. Especially after you get swept by this team last year, right? Like they know they can beat them once, and it was not a 5 overtime fluke this time. They played their game. And it's funny because they were the away team this time. You would think that Columbus has the advantage, but the Lightning came out and played their game. And hopefully it's a sign of Columbus starting to kind of wear down, right? Like they've played those extra games, not too many extra games, but they played 5 games and much higher intensity probably than our games with obviously against Florida, but against the other big boys too, right? It didn't really even feel like a true playoff game.
Right.
Yeah. Well, games, and also, this Blue Jackets team swept last season, but not the same team personnel wise, and
for neither of them,
right? But I just
you gotta give it to Columbus too, because they had to replace the Breadman, Bobrovsky. There's someone else I'm forgetting, but. Yeah.
Right. But like I say, I don't know that they replaced them that well. Is kind of what I'm saying. So they don't match up the same way they did last season either. So I think you're going to see it like in the playoffs. We haven't talked about it too much yet, but it's a war of attrition. That's the thing about a 7-game series. 5-game series, you can win back-to-back games, and then suddenly that's that's a different thing. And in 7-game series, you got to be able to impose your will overall. And I think that this team, after playing the way they did tonight, that's their thing. Duchesne, that's what it was. Thank you, Facebook.
Yeah,
Duchesne is the other guy left. But I think this is the difference after tonight's game. Is we've talked about it almost all we've talked about tonight because it's so important. Is that they're playing their hockey, and I don't know that after this you can let that confidence down to the point where Columbus is going to be able to get back and get a foothold in this series. With
Cooper's press conference. Coop's press conference, he said the turning point was the 5-on-3 penalty kill. You don't want to chase the game. That set the momentum for the game.
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
It's probably the technical area. I don't know if there's a storm going here in Lakeland, so.
Yeah, we didn't hear you either, Shooter.
Nope, can't hear Shooter.
Nope.
Oh boy. All right. I'm back.
Go back.
All right.
No, I was going to say, well, let's let Connor go. Thank you for calling in. Let's get some more callers here. Let's get some.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Connor.
Let's hear what's going on in Tampa Bay tonight, or we're all distant thunder, wherever you are.
Wherever we are watching from.
Come chat with us. Tell us what you thought about the game. Tell us what you expect next game. When is the next game? Next game's Monday at 3:00, isn't
Another 3:00 game, man. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's 3:00 on Monday.
And then they should announce game 5 sometime tonight.
Game 5 is happening. I'm sure it's going to be 3:00 on Wednesday.
Since I can have some short days at work this week again.
Well, you got to know your priorities. Yeah,
it's playoff hockey. Come on, bro.
Playoff hockey. Yeah,
did you forget 04 whenever I lived in Thunder Alley for like 2.5 months?
That's true.
Yeah, and whatever anybody's wearing today, make sure you don't wash it and bring it back on Monday.
Right?
My lucky hat did it again. I wore it the whole game, so that's my new superstition.
Little tie-dye hat.
You wore it the last game. Burn it.
Right, that's what I say.
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Oh,
he didn't put it on until too late.
Yeah, I put it on the third. It didn't do nothing.
Late. So,
All right, so give us a call. I put the link in the chat. And if you guys don't call in, this will be a very short show.
Well, so we already kind of talked about the game a lot, but what about other news that kind of shook the hockey world, if you will? The Bruins announcing that Rask is stepping away from the playoffs, stepping out of the bubble, deciding to go be with his family, deciding that's more important. Coming off of a recent announcement where he said that he didn't believe this is really the true playoffs in the bubble, didn't feel like playoff hockey. Maybe his heart just wasn't in it physically, mentally. And then, there's some speculation, maybe there's something that happened in a family, some kind of family thing that made him really have to make this decision. Yeah, I think after you make that comment, the writing's on the wall, whatever the decision is after that, whatever his reasoning is, it to me, it just seemed like he didn't feel like this was worth playing.
And then Ollie comes in and only gives up one today.
Yeah, right.
And he's been playing well too. So I don't know how big that played in his decision. If they told him like, hey, we're gonna split you guys more, and he was probably like, screw this, I'm going home.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm taking my puck and going home.
Or if he had the confidence saying, I don't know if that's really in his personality type or whatever, to be like, hey, maybe I know this guy can carry the team, so if I step away, I'm not totally leaving the team out to dry by making this choice for my personally, you know what I mean? So I was hoping maybe it would cost Boston some confidence, and maybe
especially with Pasta out too.
Yeah, I thought maybe it would give us a little bit of a hope for them to get knocked out, but it's a pretty big thing, I think, for them, especially in hockey, when the NHL, with how well they've been maintaining the bubble and how safe it is so far in regards to the COVID. I was just a little surprised that he used some kind of safety concern issue, like say it's not worth it to not be around his family. Maybe the isolation, maybe it's a personality thing too, a mental thing with him being so isolated and not being to be around his family. And kind of that, that barracks kind of setting, if you will.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't like it, right?
Yeah.
He's like, I've been here
long enough. Kind of what it sounds
enough.
like, honestly. I just don't.
See you later, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Well, either way, it bodes well for the other teams in the East, I think. I mean, what happens if Halak gets injured, right? Like he can't come back, and obviously they must have a third goalie that's been in the bubble with them.
They do. I think all teams brought three.
Yeah, makes sense. Victor, good evening, gentlemen. It is a good evening. I couldn't imagine coming on here if we lost this game tonight. So, hooray, Bolts! Game 3, 3-2, and leading the series 2-1. Where do we go from here, boys? Do we kind of just move on with this momentum and just keep it going, keep playing, keep trying to play our game, and just take the series from here? What do you guys think happens?
I think next game they break it open and really, really bury Columbus. Coop needs to get out of the shadow of Tortorella, and he knows by doing that he needs to first beat Columbus and Tortorella, and then he has to win the cup. Because no matter what, Coop will always be compared to Tortorella until we win a cup.
He will. You are absolutely right about that.
Yeah,
and then every time you
in this fan base,
and every time you lose to them, it's we can't beat Torts. We can't beat Torts. It isn't. Right. It's all Cooper's fault when we lose. All Torts' greatness when he wins.
Yeah,
never the players.
It's hard though too, because there's a core fan base here that remembers Torts and remembers how he left and how it wasn't really the greatest way when he left, and I don't know that he really necessarily deserved to go when he did, but the management and ownership being what it was at that point, it kind of still stings for some of us. Some of those guys, the players that move on, I'm like, hey, players are players. Coaches are a little bit different when it comes to me as a sports fan. So it makes it tough.
I mean, I stood outside the Marriott Hotel waiting for Torts to come out on the 25th year anniversary when they were doing that big thing. And I waited out there for him to get an autograph because he will forever go down in Lightning history as the Lightning God. Yeah, but I think Cooper has done a good job with what he's done. Mm-hmm. And I've always said when people are asking for his job that you have too many veterans on this team. If they wanted Coop gone, he'd be gone. Plain and simple. If Stammer said, I won't sign unless Coop's gone, because they always say there's a problem with those two, Coop would have been gone. Cooch said, I won't resign unless you get rid of Cooper. Cooch would have been gone. Coop would have been gone. Same thing with Vassy, any of them. If they had a problem with Coop. Coop is he's a lawyer. So he knows what to say on TV. And then behind the scenes, he reams their ass out.
And I've always believed that about him. It's only people call him out saying, oh, he doesn't yell. He's not a Torts on the bench. He's not demonstrative. I'm like, well, listen, you're not in that locker room, okay?
Yeah.
And there's no way a guy chews gum the way Coop chews gum and then doesn't have to to hold shit in. Like, he's definitely holding it in. That's what that gum is for, to keep him from losing his mind behind the bench. So then when he goes back to the locker room, he can let it all out, And I like that Coop is the more relaxed kind of guy. I'm an old school hockey guy. I've always liked Torts, but I just feel like, in this day and age, especially with the type of team that's been built and JBB's mindset of a franchise, Vinnick's mindset of a franchise, I just think Coop he fits the way, and he can win. He's proven he can win. Cups are so hard. Everyone says it's the hardest trophy to win in all of professional sports, and yet everyone acts like we should have a dozen of them by now, like we should be the freaking Bulls or something. And I just don't get it, I agree. I mean, I think we probably should have a cup by now, but at the same time, I'm still just a fan. Like, it's still not what I do. So it's easy for me to sit back and say that.
So I'll play devil's advocate with you guys because I love both coaches, obviously. I like Sue's comment here. Torts is an a-hole.
And yes, he is.
Yeah,
yes, he is.
Totally was, but that's why. That's what
he'll agree with you. Yeah,
he'd say that too. Absolutely.
And they tell you to get the hell out. Yeah,
that's how he gets the most out of his players. And you got to wonder, like, maybe Cooper's style, which is a complete 180 from that. Maybe he's not getting the most from a Hedman or from a Stamkos because he hasn't got them over that hump to win the cup yet. So I like them both, guys, but I'm just giving you the other argument to that style. Here's a good comment from Richard here. Two drastically different coaching styles. People like the hard-nosed style of Torts and feel Coop is a little bit more relaxed. I think we don't see the fire Coop brings because he does it behind the scenes. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see really kind of what happens behind the scenes. I'd love to see the Lightning on one of these. Like, you see football all the time with them, but I think the
NHL would benefit greatly from.
They've done them. They've done them for like the Stadium Series and like all. I think they're all in like Epics or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't subscribe to Epics, so I never see them.
Get a better TV deal or a better media deal in general, and go and do like a full season or something like that with multiple teams. Because like I think it would be difficult, such a long grinding season to really be for all 82 games. But if you did like throughout like one or two, like throughout the month or something, you know what I mean, kind of popping in here and there just to follow a few teams, like some of the behind the scenes I think would really bode well for the NHL.
You know who should do it is Amazon. So Amazon does the All for Nothing, I think it's called, for both the NFL.
All or
I think
nothing.
They do it with soccer. Yeah. And they follow a team basically throughout the season. So they're probably not there like with cameras all the time, which teams probably don't like. So I wonder if they would ever do something like that with the NHL. But yeah, you got to remember you're looking at 82 games over an NFL, which is much, much shorter.
But I talked to someone who's on those planes, and they said after a loss, you're ducking because Coop is screaming at certain people, and you duck your head if he's not directing at you, and don't make eye contact with him.
And what are you ducking from? Is it just like
him screaming and yelling?
old wads of gum that he's just saved up.
Exactly.
Like after the game,
That's what
he actually
happens
has a big wad of gum that he compacts together. And for every like road trip, at the end of the road trip on the way back on the plane, like the players literally are ducking because he's just slinging these things over. I can't wait to hear all the stories. Actually, it reminds me, and I actually have it pulled up right now. Let me pull this up here. So this is my favorite podcast besides this one. Besides this one.
Oh, besides us, thanks.
So yeah. So Block Party. So what Seth does is he interviews all of like all the players, right? He gets access to the players and he gets the old players on. This is a guy named Andre Waugh. If I pronounce it correctly. He won the Stanley Cup with the Lightning in 2004, and he played about 5 years with the Lightning. And this is a phenomenal interview. So after we sign off,
go check it out. Yeah.
This is on the Lightning's YouTube, and watch him because he's hilarious. He's a commentator up in Quebec, I think, for the NHL when he's still doing it. And he used to do, and they reference it in this, they used to do Rapping with Waugh. Where he would just go like in the like practice and with a microphone and just like he's a really funny guy. And you'll see if you watch this interview with Seth, he's got him cracking up the whole time. And I'm gonna shoot my shot to get him on if we keep going.
It'd be great because have you seen every time they do like reunion things with that team? He's always there, and he's always one of the ones they talk about with being one of the funniest guys in the locker room, like behind the scenes, what he brought to the team. Because physically on the ice, he was one of the main enforcers we had. I think he always led the team. He was always high in penalty minutes. He was always ready to get physical. He was that gritty kind of guy that we needed, but he was one of the funniest guys off the ice and behind the scenes. From whenever you see guys talk about him in those reunion episodes or when they get together and talk, you can tell that he's kind of that clown. So he still is. Good stuff. Good stuff from him.
He had some hilarious stories about the cup run, the party that they had, the players only party at Anderchuk's house. Had my wheels spinning about an animation possibly.
Nice.
So it definitely, start with this episode, but go back and listen to some of these Block Party stories because you'll hear stories of like Girardi once shot a puck at Torts up in New York. So you can see Richard's comment here. Some players don't respond well to Torts' style. Girardi would be one of those. And if you guys remember, Vinny and Torts did not get at all.
Not at all, ever.
And that was our Stamkos back then, right?
Yeah.
So totally different styles. I wouldn't trade Coop for anything. I was definitely getting frustrated after that first period and wanting to see some changes, but there were some adjustments made, and you saw this team kind of go back to their ways. And plus, as Sue says, he's a lawyer, so
right.
He'll convince me. That
I was going to say the same thing. You're like, what are you ducking from? I'm like, look, he might not be the brazen a-hole that Torts is, but I still feel like that guy carries himself in a manner that even me being 6.5 feet tall, if he was pissed off at me, I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to talk to that guy right now. Like I'm gonna duck that guy if I did something to get on his shit list. I'm avoiding him. So
if anybody's ever went to any of the practices over in Brandon, he doesn't hide back there. And you'll hear him cussing and screaming and everything else at the players. Yeah. And that's where you get to see the real Coop is during those practices. And he's totally, even in the back lot after some of the games, he'll be real. I'm drinking a beer back there, watching videotape and stuff like that. He's actually, I think he's got this team where they need to be. And they believe it.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll see. They got to get over this hump. I just put the link out there one more time. Last call for call-ins here. We're gonna wrap this up in the next 10-15 minutes here. I saw a comment on there. We got some UFC starting tonight, so I might go check out some of that.
That's a good call.
But hey, a big win
Huge
tonight.
Win.
Wasn't
Huge
a must
win.
win. Wasn't a must win, but I would love to see what happens on Monday. If we take the lead on Monday, if we go 3-1, forget about it. Forget about it.
Yeah, well, I think this definitely sets us up for to win in 5. now.
Yep.
Like I said, I was thinking after maybe the first game that if the Lightning were able to switch it on in that second game, the sweep could happen. But like I said, I gave Columbus the respect that game 2 was going to come somewhere. And personally, as much as it hurt, I'm glad that it was game 2. So now you see out here in game 3, the Lightning do what they got to do, and I could see this now being a 5-game series.
Yeah. Now we got a home ice advantage is back in our court now. So we got.
I think you're going to see that matter less and less. By the way, I wanted to bring this up. I was saying about it throughout the playoffs as it goes on longer and longer. I think you're going to see people bringing it up less, talking about it less. It's going to matter less and less. Really, it's just going to come down to overall momentum. And a lot of times I say that momentum from previous games only carries over so far because of kind of the travel and the home ice. I think that momentum is going to matter more in these series as they stay in these bubble scenarios.
Right, because there's nothing else for them to do.
Right, there's no other kind of momentum from the crowd or anything. Like it's a much different thing. So yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit different as they keep going deeper into the playoffs. So I think it's very important for the Lightning to kind of get this wrapped up in 5, get this monkey off their back, if you will. As much as I hate to admit it, every time get over this hump. No, but it's true. They got to get past Columbus here. And Sue here on our Facebook feed says that she thinks we're gaining energy and they're losing energy. And I agree. Like I said, I think we're on the upswing. I think this team isn't quite what they were last year in Columbus. And I think that they're going to keep kind of staying where they are, maybe even dropping their energy a little bit as we continue to gain momentum.
You guys talk about having someone follow the team around for 80. I want to see inside the bubble alive. Let's see the behind. Because like when we pass Seth Jones or Savard, do we want to punch them?
I know, right?
So you got to pass them in the same hotel and stuff.
Yeah.
Are you both down there in the morning getting breakfast and be like, listen, you gave me a cheap shot last night.
Yeah.
I want to see that because that is part of the momentum. I mean, it isn't you get to forget it and go against the next team. It's still you're facing Columbus. You're still facing a team that you're pretty familiar with. So I think the series just builds now.
And now you're going, like you said, you're going back to the same hotels now.
Yep.
Regularly the home team's going home.
Yep.
The visiting teams go to the hotel, and that's that.
Except for what did Tort do when we won the cup?
Yeah,
he sequestered the team in the hotel.
Yep, that's true. That's true. They all stay in the hotels. They didn't go back. But in general, that's the other thing is they're having a lot more, contact off the ice in between the games. So those kinds of things are like living in the village together, if you will. So those things I think are going to influence the momentum more than what you say home ice or home advantage when it would normally be the influencer there.
It's just line changes. That's all that's.
Yeah.
But, it went our way today.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and you saw again, Coop too. They mentioned in the game on the Fox broadcast, local broadcast about one specific time, Coop made a real quick change and basically got that the Gord line double shifted or whatever on their third line or whatever his matchup was. I was trying to take notes, but again, I was just so nervous today. I kept forgetting to write shit down. But that was right in the middle. And plus I was also trying to, be kind of active on social media and whatnot. And people talking about no changes. And then there was Coop making changes. And even though he had the late change or the last change, he was doing his best to kind of get out there and outfox Torts. And he did it on multiple occasions. So
yeah, that reminded me, speaking of life in the bubble, there was a little segment during one of the intermissions where they kept showing, it seems like it was all the Dallas Stars, but they kept showing them getting their brains felt up with the COVID test.
Yeah, I think it was like the NHL produced that bit or whatever. So yeah, it was Dallas guys. But
the last thing I wanted to see was these guys getting things stuck up their nose. But
yeah,
I mean,
at the same
interesting
time, it was cool
to see, I guess.
Yeah, it was cool
what
to
they
see.
have to deal with because they got to go
every
do
day.
that like every day.
Every day.
What time's your nose or your brain tickle?
Right.
And then you go both noses.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've never had a COVID test, but I've had a flu test, which is basically the same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. I've been
Not
swabbed a
fun.
few times. Yeah, that's not. Hey, listen, I'm just gonna say I'll keep it PG-13. That's just those aren't the orifices I'm worried about getting swabbed. All right, you keep it in the nose, keep it in the mouth. I'm fine with that. You know.
Well, when
All
you
right,
said you've been swabbed a couple, I started wondering.
Yeah,
I was in the military. All right,
let's give our last comment. Our final comment, so Stash can go do his Saturday night's swabbings.
Okay.
Wherever he chooses
How is that
to
a
swab.
thing? I guess that's not a thing.
What I guess we'll end it with this then. What do you guys want to see happen on Monday?
More.
Besides a win.
More.
Step on the gas pedal. Step
more.
It looks like playoff Killorn is here.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's time for playoff Sorelli. Yeah, Sorelli needs to catch that bug from Johnson and Killer, and because Sorelli is still the only one on that line that seems to not quite be 100% in sync. Johnson and Killer, they're ready for playoffs. Sorelli's one I think that's.
I thought Sorelli towards the end of the game started getting more in sync.
He's getting
it needs to flow over, and I don't know if it's if Coop starts saying, "Hey, you'll be the next one bench." It's next man up mentality. It has to be right now. You got Joseph waiting in there. You got defensemen that are sitting. You got Shen.
Or even switching the lineups and putting him down and bringing Verhaeghe up to that, because I think Verhaeghe would fit well up there with Killer and Johnson too. So either way, something like that. But
and you got to remember Verhaeghe lost that spot. He had that spot at the beginning of the season, and people called him out. I was one of them. Called him out because he couldn't score. He breakaways. He couldn't make it. And then Stevens came in, and Stevens had a flash of hope. And Verhaeghe lost that. And I think now he's finally got that spot again. And
when he turned on later, when he had opportunities later on, he definitely started producing too. He definitely, once he got kind of more comfortable, he started producing. So, and it looked like he took the time off to really work. They were talking about on the broadcast as well. He took the time off to work on himself physically, on his game and everything else. And you can see there's a difference.
Yeah, there definitely is.
This is one game you can see a difference. So yeah. But more lightning hockey.
More like tonight, Nicole. And Nicole looks familiar from I know you're on Facebook, but I think we follow each other on Twitter, I think. So we should also say thank you for everyone for tuning into these post-game shows. I know I've had people reach out to me, say they like and they enjoy it. Some surprise people reaching out to me saying the same thing. So it's really cool that you guys are enjoying this. And our plan from the beginning, if you go back to podcast number one,
we've been wanting to do this forever.
Was this podcast will end when we are lifting that cup. So we are going to keep going until that happens. And it's going to be really weird if we get knocked out and we're just here being like, wonder we're in the next game.
We're going to start having rogue podcasts, but even whenever it's like football. Oh, so how about the Lightning?
And the other thing I'll say, since we've been trying out this new platform, which seems to be working pretty well today, is we are also able to stream to Twitter/Periscope and also YouTube. So we're out there on all those different platforms if you want to go give us a follow over there. But you guys know where to find us if you're here. And we always post this as as a podcast form as well. So you can go listen to this tomorrow morning if you want in your car for that. When
all of our amazing insight,
whatever you want.
I like that comment there that Nicole said she wants a Bogosian goal. I really think he deserves it. Right. If anybody that needs a goal and deserves a goal, it's going to be Bogosian. He deserves it in his first playoffs after all those crappy seasons. And when we picked him up, those fans of Buffalo was like, you are going to regret this. He is your biggest. He's going to be your problem. He's going to blow up on your team and everything else. Thank you for taking him off of our hands. And now, and he deserves it. I mean, and Coleman and Gaudreau need to get them going.
Evidently, Facebook fans think that you need a light and some kind of moist towelette to clean off your camera lens there, Thomas.
Is it bad?
You're getting some shade.
No, I think
they're just giving you a hard time.
I think it's because you must be on a laptop or phone.
It's my laptop this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's laptop webcam versus we have Stash and I have like external webcams which just look that much better. But you know what? If we win the cup, we're gonna all chip in. We're gonna get you.
I'm not the pro.
We're gonna get you on 4K, baby.
That's right.
If we win the cup, because
Schoolman in all his glory.
Actually, if we ended up winning the cup, I don't even know if I could do a show that night. I will be going to downtown Tampa. I will be probably getting COVID that night.
We want the vid.
A car.
We want the vid.
So
let's do it.
We'll see. We got a long way to go. How many games do we got to go, guys? How many games?
14
victories.
14 to go.
14 dubs away.
So I want to see the same thing you guys want to see. I want them to pick off where they left off tonight. I want to see them play a complete game. I feel like I've been saying that for 5 years now, and maybe this is the year they do it, but we seem to like to play 60 minutes or just 30 minutes, but never a full game. So never a full 60 minutes, but they'll play a good 20 minutes or a 40 minutes. I want to see a full 60.
That's not lightning hockey.
That's not lightning hockey. Lightning hockey is only playing 40 minutes a game. So, but no, and the thing I always have to remind myself of, especially in this situation, is it's playoff hockey. So there's going to be ebbs and flows. You're playing good teams at this point. So no matter how good of a team you are, they're going to have their moments of momentum. They're going to get pressure. They're going to get some opportunities. But like we were talking about at the last show, and I've been pretty vocal on social media since then, it hasn't been a coup. These guys haven't been playing to their game, to their level. These superstars have not been playing and executing to their level of eliteness. And tonight you started to see that. You really started to see the guys that were being elite all season, that have consistently been elite in the past, be elite again. And that's what it's going to take. More eliteness, more of these superstars playing superstar hockey.
And I think Columbus has. I think Columbus has played their best hockey.
I agree.
On all three of these games against us.
Yes.
I think we just haven't played. Had we been lightning hockey all three games, that there would have been no contest on any of them.
Yes. Well, and I think and not to completely take over this tonight because I'm just so happy, but I think that speaks to them not getting in the Lightning head too much and letting the Lightning play their game and not trying to overdo it to match Columbus, and the thing I would like to say though too is you look at the stats tonight. The one line that I always like to see the Lightning winning is in the face-off circle. They lost. It was about 54 to 46. We were beat in the face-off circle. I want to see more wins in the face-off circle in general, because that's the beginning of playoff of Lightning hockey, is the puck possession and winning in the circle. So if we
the
could
last
get that
game
up,
was 51-49 Columbus.
Yeah.
And I think on the overtime one, the marathon, I think we were ahead on that one. I think that's the only one we won the face-off on.
Yeah. So, and then again, those block shots, man. The Lightning need to do a little bit better. They were a little bit better tonight. They only had 24 block shots, which has been down from the first couple games, I think. But it definitely, everything's down from the first game. But it's something that I think they still need to be a little bit more conscious of as they have the puck, trying to make these moves and these shots. Even Hedman, after scoring that goal later on, he went to go try and make a pass or play. The guy went down, and instead of kind of moving his stick and hesitating just a little bit more, he tried to make the pass, and the guy still made the play on the ice. So, I think just a little bit more awareness of how physical these guys are and how willing they are to sacrifice and block those pucks in any means necessary. That's one other thing I think that could really benefit the Lightning to dominating full 60 minutes and really shutting down this series.
Well, and I think that's why McDonough led the team in ice tonight, was the block shots.
Yeah.
Because that's what
we only had 9 as a team, but some of them were key. A couple ones he had were key. So, all right, boys.
Yeah, that does seem low. Let's do this again on Monday. Let's shoot for 8:00 because we never know how many overtimes we're gonna have, and I want to make sure we give enough time to to do our deep analyzation of the game. Like obviously we got to jump on right after this 7:30 start time.
Right.
So can't do too late, but we'll shoot for 8:00 on Monday. Hopefully we'll see you guys then.
Thanks for jumping in, Connor.
Yes, Connor. No other callers. Bunch of chickens. I'll say it. Bunch of chickens. Come on.
A lot of comments tonight.
Yeah,
a lot of people in the chat room. Definitely appreciate all the love, all the following, all the support, everyone hanging out with us. Some good observations from the viewers. Some great comments there. So there's no point in us doing this if someone isn't at least watching for some time of it. So,
I just want someone to call in and say, "Hey, I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller."
Yeah, right. Like that's why I do this, man. Long time, first time. That's all I want to hear. Hey guys, long time, first time. Oh, that's come on.
All right, yeah, and I'm gonna try to get us some good guests here as we move throughout the playoffs as well. We'll try to sneak in some Sonias and some other folks too. I'll reach out to Andre and see if he's free. Doubtful.
Yeah, right. We just gotta start working Seth, man. He's our inside guy on that.
Seth, maybe we'll go for Seth, but
yeah,
we'll see. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, go Bolts. This has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.